Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Tom Johnson begins now.
Good evening. A Hobart mother has spoken out about her mould-infested social accommodation after 2 years of waiting on the housing register. The state government is being accused of not meeting its building targets as the number of applicants on the housing waitlist continues to grow.
A humble abode turned house of horrors.
I have my daughter sleeping in my room because it's the only place in the house that doesn't have mould. It just means we get sick, and we get sick all the time.
No lights, no ventilation, water leaks and black mould. Natasha is at her wit's end.
I have water filling up in the light fittings, where our electrician actually recently threatened to walk off the job so he didn't get electrocuted himself.
Her situation all too common.
People are living in unsuitable, unsafe, inappropriate housing.
The COVID pandemic pushing an already tight property market to the brink.
Housing prices are continuing to explode, and that's coupled with a lack of available housing in the rental market, and that forces people onto community housing.
The opposition criticising the state government for failing to meet its own building approval targets.
The month of August, for example, there were only 4 new approvals statewide for social and affordable housing to be built. It's not good enough.
The most recent budget papers show more than 5,000 people will be placed on the housing register by the end of this financial year. Currently, almost 400 of those are sleeping rough while they wait for suitable accommodation. The Minister for Housing says further repairs to Ms Richardson's home will be completed early next month. Cold comfort for someone waiting 2 years to find a permanent home. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
Authorities have called off the search for lost Ulverston man Thomas Corto. Police say it is extremely unlikely he could have survived due to poor weather conditions and cool temperatures. Mr Corto and his 2 friends went missing after a day trip in their yellow Caribbean boat last Monday. His 2 friends, Brianna Thomas and Isaiah Dixon, were found dead at Table Cape 2 days later. A man has died after crashing on the St Helens mountain bike trails yesterday afternoon. Despite efforts from members of the public and emergency services, the 67-year-old from the northwest could not be saved. The man was an experienced rider and wearing appropriate safety gear at the time of the incident. The Westpac rescue helicopter has been deployed to assist a school group stranded overnight at the Arthur River. Half the group was able to cross the waters safely, however, changing conditions made it unsafe to do so for 6 group members. The party was airlifted to safety and reunited with family in Wynyard just after midday. The deadline for Tasmanian healthcare workers to provide evidence of a COVID vaccine is fast approaching. The mandate comes into effect from midnight, leaving around 3% of the workforce to get vaccinated or lose their jobs. Around 500 healthcare professionals took their case to the Supreme Court this week to suspend the order, which was denied. The matter will return to court next week. Staffing levels at the Royal Hobart Hospital are about to get a much-needed boost, with 10 new full-time emergency doctors set to help manage demand. The state government's latest health dashboard data shows wait times have decreased for some elective surgeries, but the number of people on the wait list has only dropped by 1,500 since January. The state government has been accused of not delivering on half of its promised infrastructure spend designed to help rebuild the economy from COVID.
And they promised us an infrastructure spend of over $1 billion, including social and affordable housing, but other infrastructure projects again, and they've only delivered on around about half of that. So they are big on announcements, they're big on promises, but low on delivery.
Infrastructure Minister Michael Ferguson says a record $317 million worth of roads and bridges were built last year. Environmental protesters have marched through the Launceston CBD, calling on the government to adopt more lofty emission reduction goals. After meeting in Civic Square, the group walked along St John Street, eventually blocking access to Brisbane Street. The group from Extinction Rebellion says the recently announced net zero by 2050 lacks detail and is not enough to prevent the worst effects of global warming.
It's business as usual, basically. It's a stunt to placate the gas and coal lobbyists, and there's no legislation it's a farce.
One man was arrested by police and charged with failure to follow a police order. Pet owners are finding many boarding kennels and catteries are booked out for the festive season despite being 2 months out. It has thrown a spanner in the works for many with holiday plans, as some operators say places for next year are already filling up fast.
Looking to head home to Victoria for the holiday season but needing to find a place for his dog Ernie, Gus TROUP rang his usual boarding kennel.
He loves it up there, it's really good, but they just basically said that we couldn't get him in this year or next year.
Unable to find someone to walk and feed his dog, it was one of the main reasons he chose not to go home for Christmas.
It is difficult trying to go away and have somewhere secure for the dog to go for an extended period of time.
People just book in every Christmas, and then if they can't get away, well, there's always someone waiting.
Longford Park kennels were booked out for the festive season by July. A herd of customers calling up after last week's border announcement, but now put on a waiting list.
But still a lot booked for January and February, and it's still going to go away then.
I guess what we're seeing this year is an influx of people that have decided to travel and possibly later than usual.
The RSPCA says planning what you'll do with your furry friend while you're on holidays is an important part of pet ownership.
It could be a family member that comes to stay in your house. Remember that your pets would prefer to be in their own environment. Or it may be that you get one of the house sitting or pet sitting services that are available.
Otherwise, start planning for next year.
We've put our name down, and that's all we can sort of expect and sort of hope someone cancels, unfortunately, but yeah, that's all we can do.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
As Tasmania prepares to reopen its borders, efforts to bring more high-quality football action to the state are ramping up. Football Tasmania targeting a Matildas fixture, along with hosting a team in the 2023 Women's World Cup. Securing an A-League licence also high on the agenda.
We continue to work behind the scenes on getting our own team. We continue to have the view that it's not a national competition unless it has a Tasmanian team.
Meanwhile, the governing body has secured fast food giant McDonald's as its major sponsor. They'll have the naming rights to the NPL and statewide cup competitions, while also supporting the state's junior development program. Tasmania's next generation of sailors are testing their skills in Hobart this weekend. Sandy Bay Sailing Club playing host to the annual PMG Showdown Regatta. Taking to the River Derwent, more than 200 competitors across 84 vessels from across the state are taking part. The competition sees boys and girls competing across a variety of classes. The event will wrap up tomorrow afternoon. Tasmania's Senate candidate for the Animal Justice Party has trekked 365 kilometres from the north to the south of the state to raise awareness for animal rights issues.
There is a party willing and able to stand strong for the animals and the environment.
Ivan Davis embarked on the journey from Somerset a week ago, today greeted by party members as he completed the walk in Hobart. In the Sheffield Shield, Tasmania's unbeaten start to the season is over, going down to Queensland in Townsville this afternoon. Starting the day 1 wicket down, Queensland ripped through the Tigers' middle order on its way to a 96-run win.
With 9 wickets in the shed and 300 runs to get, a classic chase was on hand for Tasmania. Looking for a solid start, they got the opposite.
Oh, bowled him! He shouldered arms, it hasn't turned, it's disturbed the castle.
Wake him out in odd circumstances just a few overs into the day. Replacement Jordan Silk was then also out, failing to play a shot. Caleb Jewell continued making runs as he pushed towards a century. But 10 runs from it, he fell to the spin of Labuschagne.
Jewell is hit on the pad, Marnus Labuschagne. One knee, he's finally got one!
Despite the loss of wickets, Bo Webster continued applying scoreboard pressure.
Webster is advancing and cracking him back over his head. Save your legs there.
His 55-run partnership with Jake Doran, however, ended just after lunch.
Oh, Doran sweeps. Top edge, easily caught at short fine leg.
The Bulls spin bowlers causing havoc. Webster fell for 36. Tom Andrews departed for just 10. Neil Smith out for 13. Queensland had victory in sight when they dismissed Gabe Bell for a 13-ball duck. But Riley Meredith and Jared Friedman refused to give up.
Just bowling a little bit straight. The roll of the wrist now. Meredith launches into a pull shot. And he gets all of that.
They put on 64 for the last wicket, edging within 100 runs of an unlikely win. But it was too much to ask for. Meredith the last man out, as Queensland wrapped up a big win. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
And 5 Tasmanian boats will fly the flag for the state in this year's Sydney to Hobart yacht race. They are among 112 yachts which will set sail from Sydney on Boxing Day. Two-time Tattersalls Cup winner Ichiban is a confirmed starter. However, 9-time winner Wild Oats 11 and reigning Line Honours champion Comanche will not take part. It'll be the first time since 2019 the race has taken place, with last year's cancelled due to COVID.
Good evening. 16 right across Hobart, Launceston, Burnie and Devonport today. 17 was the state's top at Friendly Beaches, Strawn and Bushy Park 14 and 15 at Low Head. On the close-up shows patchy cloud streaming across Tasmania. Further out, patchy middle level cloud lies over parts of central and northern Australia. Tomorrow shows the high drifting eastwards over the southeast mainland, while a cold front weakens to the south of the Bight. West to northwesterly winds tomorrow, 15 to 25 knots, swells up to 4 metres in the west and south and below 1 metre in the north. A strong wind warning is current for northern coastal waters from Stanley to St Helens Point, the southwest lakes, and for southern and western coastal waters from Tasman Island to Sandy Cape. A major flood warning for the River Derwent, a moderate flood warning for the Macquarie and Jordan rivers, and a minor flood warning for the South Esk and Meander rivers. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart and Richmond cloudy and 18, Ouse 17. In the north, 19 in Launceston, Devonport and Deloraine 17. Cloudy in Burnie tomorrow, 16 across Strawn and Curry. St Helens and Swansea partly cloudy and a possible shower in Whitemark. The UV forecast is high 7s across the state. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast, Monday fine apart from light showers about the west and far south. Tuesday possible light showers about the north, and Wednesday showers developing about the west extending statewide. Capital cities 25 and mostly sunny in Perth tomorrow, Brisbane a possible shower and 33 in Cairns. And currently Hobart 13 and partly cloudy, Launceston and Devonport 14 and partly cloudy. That's all in weather tonight, Tom.
Thank you very much, Jackie. And that is all from us here at 7 Tasmania. Thanks so much for joining us. The supercars are up next. Enjoy your evening.